Whoa, what is this? I've never seen this inside a bell pepper before.
It's got nuts.
It's got nuts. Hey everyone, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brittany. I'm a health coach and nutritionist, and my channel is all about helping you to create delicious, low FODMAP meals to improve your digestive health. If you're into it, go ahead and subscribe. We put out a new video each week. Okay, so today we are making sausage and peppers, which is one of my favorite dishes for when I'm feeding a ton of people and I don't necessarily feel like cooking, which might be Christmas for you guys. So this dish is great because I'm just gonna chop up a bunch of stuff, throw it in a pot, throw it in the oven, and that's it. So we are gonna make a little bit of a sauce on the stove, but it takes 2 minutes. I really recommend this dish for, like I said, when you're feeding a large group of people. I wouldn't necessarily make this for a meal prep and then eat it all week. The oven is preheated. Yeah, you don't want to eat it all week because it's a very rich dish and the sausage can have a tad bit of garlic and onion in there. So you don't want to eat that on repeat. I would just eat it once and hope for the best. So, all right, so let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start by prepping our vegetables. I have 3 bell peppers here. I have the yellow and the orange ones just because the red ones didn't look very good in the grocery store. I like to use the red, yellow, and orange ones because they actually have less FODMAPs in them, whereas green bell peppers do. So that's why I'm only using these colors in this recipe. The other great thing about bell peppers is that they are chock full of vitamin C. So I know everyone thinks of vitamin C, they think oranges, but no, bell peppers are actually the #1 source of vitamin C. Vitamin C is so important for somebody with IBS because vitamin C helps you build collagen, and collagen is what we want to help repair our damaged gut lining. Okay, so we're just cutting these into strips. We don't need to be super precise with this. They're gonna cook down a lot in the oven. Okay, Rupert, I will let you in. You wanna be in the YouTube video? Okay. So if you don't feel like you're super sensitive to peppers like I am, at least when they're cooked all the way, you could try throwing in an Anaheim chili. It's green and I feel like it gives it a nice festive kind of color combination. You could also try a green bell pepper, but at your own risk, of course. Okay, I've got 3 green onions here. We're just going to chop the tops off. I hate in the winter when it's all stem on the green onions, so annoying. This is all we get. Okay, I'm gonna leave these to the side. I also have a handful of herbs here. I have a little bit of oregano and a handful of parsley. I like to use fresh herbs in my cooking. You could really use anything that gives you an Italian vibe, You could use rosemary, thyme, really anything that you have on hand. So I would normally take the leaves, the oregano leaves off of this stem, but these stems are actually really tender, so I'm just gonna chop them up. It's the same thing with rosemary. If you have a thick woody stem, then you're gonna wanna take the rosemary off of it. But if it's young rosemary that the stems are very tender, you can just eat those. It's so much easier. Okay, set these aside. Okay, so now we can start to prep our potatoes. I have 1.5 pounds of Yukon Baby Gold potatoes, and I'm just going to quarter them and throw them in our pot. So here I have a large roasting pot. It does have a lid. We are going to use the lid on it. I'm not quite sure how big it is, but it is pretty large. The great thing about this recipe is that it's totally scalable. So I'm making it for about 4 to 6 people right now, depending on how hungry they are and if you have any side dishes or anything. So I'm going to be using 2 pounds of sausage today and 1.5 pounds of potatoes, but you can actually you can do 3 pounds of sausage, 3 pounds of potatoes. It really just depends on who you're trying to feed. You might have to double the sauce portion though if you are increasing the potatoes and the sausage. So I'm just going to give them, I'm going to cut them into little quarters like this here and just throw them in. I'm not going to grease the bottom of our dish or anything. The sausage and the sauce is going to have plenty of fat in there. So you've probably noticed that I love using Yukon Gold potatoes. I just think that they have a much more like buttery texture than russet potatoes, which can be like a little bit like starchy, you know? The other great thing about potatoes is that they are full of vitamin B6. So B6 is great for converting essential fatty acids into hormones and converting amino acids into neurotransmitters. So it's pretty necessary for life. If you are trying to scale up this recipe, I would recommend doing 3 to 4 of these little potatoes per person, depending on like how many other starches you're serving. Okay, so now we are going to cut our sausage. So I'm gonna get out a separate cutting board. I don't like to cut raw meat on the wood cutting board because it's harder to clean and it's like a porous surface. So I just got this sausage from the butcher counter in Sprouts. And I asked the guy behind the counter how much garlic and onion was in it, and he said like not too much. He looked on the label and it said less than 2%, which is typically what I find in the grocery store. It is hard to find sausage that has no garlic and onion in it. It is out there, it does exist, but it is hard to find. But that's why I recommend just eating this dish one time. Because for me and for the other people in my family who eat the low FODMAP diet, they're okay if they have it just once. But if they keep eating it throughout the week, bad things will start to happen. They'll start to get like heartburn and indigestion, and you don't want that. So that's why I recommend this dish for when you're having like a big crowd of people who don't necessarily like eat the low FODMAP diet. It's naturally gluten-free and it's just a good like hearty dish. People don't realize that they're eating something that is like a specialty elimination diet. So, okay, so I typically cut my sausages in 3 pieces, but these are a little bit bigger than the ones I normally use, so I'm gonna do it in 4 pieces. Okay, we're just gonna throw them in. I have also made this recipe before using a mixture of sausage and chicken thighs, which was really good. If you guys are a little bit low on sausage, or if you want to make it lower FODMAP, just kind of use like a couple of sausages for the flavor and the rest chicken. All right, so you see we have our sausage and our potatoes just kind of like spread out in the bottom here. And now we're just going to layer our peppers on top. And then our herbs, our parsley, oregano, and green onion. I didn't mention, but I love using parsley in my cooking in particular because it's full of vitamin K, which is an amazing vitamin. It helps with like blood clotting and like if you bruise easy, which I definitely do. So I like to get a lot of vitamin K in my diet. All right, now we're gonna head over to the stove and make our sauce really quick. Okay, we have a medium saucepan here over a large burner, and we are going to turn the heat on to medium-high. We're going to start by dry toasting our bay leaves and this mixture of spices right here. Here we have a mixture of crushed red pepper, fennel seeds, and peppercorns. So we are going to want to toast these before we put in our tomatoes. Like I'm starting to get the fennel aroma. It smells like licoricey. I like adding fennel in this dish because it helps to bring out the real like sausagey flavor. This is especially good if you're using chicken. I also like to add crushed red pepper in this recipe because I'm using a mild Italian sausage. You could use a spicy Italian sausage, but I feel like that gets too spicy. Okay, I can smell those aromas. So now we're going to go ahead and add our tomatoes. Here I have 28 ounces of diced tomatoes. I'm just gonna add that in. Woo! We're also going to add 3 ounces of tomato paste. Add our Italian seasoning. It's a tablespoon, or excuse me, a teaspoon. As always, I'll have the recipe amounts in the description. Okay, next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar to kind of give it a little punch. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of garlic oil. This one's still a bit solid, so I'm just gonna give it like 1 heaping tablespoon there. I'm not gonna add any salt to this because there's plenty of salt in the canned tomatoes. So we're just gonna bring this up to temperature and let the flavors combine, and then we're gonna throw it over the rest of our ingredients and pop everything in the oven. Simple. Okay, our sauce has been simmering for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna give it a taste. Very good. It's nice and garlicky. It has a little bit of tang from that vinegar. That's gonna be really good. Okay, so I actually forgot to put salt on top of the peppers. I like to put a teaspoon of salt on these peppers to kind of just help them break down and draw the water out of them. Okay, now we're just gonna pour our sauce on. Give it a little stir. So again, a lot of fat is gonna be drawn out of the sausage, and a lot of water is gonna be drawn out of the peppers to help combine with the tomatoes to help create a sauce. Okay, now we're just gonna pop this in the oven at 450 degrees for about an hour. All right, guys, our sausage and peppers has been cooking in the oven at 450 degrees for an hour. So let's take a look. Ooh. All of our peppers are cooked down and our potatoes are nice and cooked through. We've got a nice sauce going there on the bottom. I did sprinkle in some more fresh herbs on top before serving. So let's plate this up and take a taste. My mom loves the sauce so much that every time I make this, she's like, can we please have it on pasta? But I told her no, because it's a very rich and fatty sauce and you don't want that. Like, that'll mess up your stomach. So just a little bit. She's also not a fan of potatoes. That's why. This sauce it's got a little tang from the vinegar and the acid in the tomatoes, but it's got like a nice, like rich herby depth to it. And the peppers add a lot of flavor too. This sausage is just like unreal how tender it is. So good. Try a little bit of the peppers. They're nice and like stewed and like fully cooked down, but they still give such a light like freshness to the dish. What I love most about this dish is that it literally takes like 15 minutes to throw together, and it tastes like I slaved over this all day. The flavors are just so rich and hearty, and they just mingle so well together. So like I mentioned, if you have a ton of people to cook for this Christmas and you're just like not feeling like spending all day in the kitchen, make this. All right, guys, well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and go follow me on Instagram, where I post a lot of food pictures that are sort of like daily low FODMAP meal inspirations. And I will see you guys next week, all right? Thanks so much for watching. Bye.